A deadly operation collapses in Dubai after a ruthless man named Crown suddenly arrives. At the same time, former CIA analyst Jack Ryan is pulled back into the world he tried to leave behind. But the deeper Jack gets, the clearer it becomes that this mission is tied to a dark secret buried for more than 20 years. The story begins in Dubai, where an MI6 team has been sent to recover a piece of sensitive intel. Their leader, Nigel Cook, urgently orders the team to pull out because Crown has entered the city. But the agents are already too deep into the mission to turn back. Crown and his crew move in fast, killing the MI6 agents one by one and stopping the extraction before the intel can leave the ground. The scene shifts to New York City, where a man named Jack Ryan notices several black cars following him through the streets. Jack slips into a restaurant to lose them, but the moment he walks back outside, the vehicles surround him. Sitting inside one of them is James Greer, deputy director of the CIA. Jack and James clearly know each other well, but Jack has already left the agency behind and now works a civilian job on Wall Street. James asks Jack to meet someone for him. Jack refuses immediately. James reminds him that he is already flying to Dubai for work, and the man he needs to meet, Nigel, also happens to be there. According to James, it is only a simple pickup. Jack asks what exactly he is collecting. James explains that it is connected to an old joint operation with MI6 and promises he will not get dragged into anything dangerous. To support him, James sends a contract operative named Mike along for the trip. Jack and Mike fly first class to Dubai. During the flight, Mike asks why James does not simply meet Nigel himself. Mike explains that his job is to make sure nobody follows Jack to the meeting point. After arriving in Dubai, Jack handles his Wall Street business meeting before heading out to meet Nigel. Deep down, Jack already knows the truth. It is never just about meeting a guy. Nigel arrives at the location, but he is not alone. A woman walks in right behind him. Soon after, Nigel and Jack board a yacht together. The moment they are alone, Nigel presses a knife into Jack's back and demands to know who he really is. Jack calmly explains that James sent him. From a distance, Mike notices the woman moving quickly toward the yacht. At the same time, another suspicious man approaches a nearby boat. Jack asks Nigel for the package James wanted him to collect. Suddenly, Mike warns Jack through the comms that someone is following him. Nigel asks where James is because, according to him, James is the one who truly needs help right now. Then Nigel secretly slips something into Jack's hand. Only seconds later, a gunman shoots Nigel dead. The woman storms onto the yacht with her gun aimed directly at Jack. Jack immediately runs. He jumps onto a nearby boat and crashes into a fight with the driver steering it. During the struggle, Jack jerks the wheel sharply, causing the boat to slam sideways into a structure and stop completely. Jack pins the man down and demands answers, but before the man can speak, a sniper bullet kills him instantly. Mike reaches Jack and tells him they need to leave immediately, but the woman appears again with her weapon aimed at both of them. She forces them to come with her. Meanwhile, at CIA headquarters, James receives a file connected to a secret project called Starling. At that same moment, Crown contacts him directly and warns him to return whatever Nigel stole before things get even worse. Meanwhile, Jack and Mike are being held inside an MI6 safe house. The woman reveals herself as Emma, an MI6 agent who already knows exactly who both men are. Jack tells her that if she knows everything, then she must also know James Greer. Emma coldly replies that James placed Jack directly in danger just to protect himself. She explains that James once claimed he stabbed an asset who threatened to expose him in Carrot. But when Emma personally checked the body, she found no stab wounds at all. The man had actually been tortured by James' people. Emma then reveals the truth about Starling. Right after September 11, James and Nigel were personally chosen to create a secret interagency task force. It became a brutal black ops unit responsible for countless deaths around the world. When the entire operation finally collapsed, James accepted the blame alone and never exposed others involved, including Nigel and Crown. The previous day, Nigel secretly reached out to James asking for a meeting. Now Nigel is dead, and Emma wants answers herself. From this point on, Jack will be working with her instead. Jack contacts James, and Emma takes both Jack and Mike back to the United Kingdom. Even her own partner inside MI6 had no idea she secretly traveled to Dubai. Emma had quietly been following Nigel behind everyone's backs because she feared more senior officers might soon die. With Nigel gone, James is now the only person left who still has direct knowledge about Starling, and Jack is determined to get every answer out of him. Jack and James finally meet at MI6 headquarters. Furious, Jack confronts James for sending him into danger blindly. James then reveals the package. He explains that the two agents killed earlier were Mark Whitaker, a former CIA operative, and Tobias Wilkes from MI6. James says he shut Starling down years before he ever met Jack. But Crown, now operating as a rogue military contractor, secretly revived the operation in a far worse form and eventually pulled pulled Wilkes into it. Once Wilkes realized how dangerous things had become, he contacted Nigel for help. Since Nigel could not openly move against Crown, he secretly monitored him through Wilkes instead. Jack angrily demands to know why James sent a civilian into Dubai when agents had already been killed. James insists he never knew Crown was already aware of Nigel. He also tells Jack to stop pretending he is only a civilian because Jack has already seen far more than most ordinary people ever do. James finally opens up about the past. 20 years earlier, the world was drowning in fear and constant attacks. According to him, Starling was created out of necessity. Every mission and every death was done to save innocent lives. James admits the program came with a terrible cost, but says people only get to judge it now because they live in the peace those sacrifices created. A heated argument erupts between Jack and James over whether Starling was ever justified. Soon after, they are called into an emergency MI6 briefing. Jack is asked if Nigel handed him anything before he died. Jack says no. MI6 recovered a damaged flash drive from Nigel's assassin. The recovered data includes photos taken in London, encoded schematics, and several suspicious bank statements. The moment James sees the information, he immediately recognizes the plan. He stopped the exact same operation 20 years earlier. It involved the PMN, a radical military faction that Starling had once infiltrated. Their target back then was Tower Bridge. Realizing the danger, James urgently orders the bridge evacuated before another attack can happen. News of the possible attack quickly reaches CIA Director Elizabeth. James explains the entire history behind the operation. He tells her that he first met Crown and Nigel during a mission connected to Carrick. At the time, the PMN terrorist faction had been planning attacks across the world, but their main target had always been London. According to James, a confession eventually led them deep into one of Carrick's richest neighborhoods. During the mission, Crown managed to capture a PMN member alive. The prisoner turned out to be the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Pakistani Army. It became James' responsibility to interrogate him. The interrogation led them to a safe house in Aldgate, allowing the team to stop the bombing only 3 hours before it was supposed to happen. But during questioning, the prisoner suddenly suffered a heart attack and died. After that incident, Starling was officially shut down. Later, Nigel discovered that Crown had secretly continued running Starling operations behind everyone's backs. Crown believed politics and diplomacy would never truly protect people from global threats. Now he feels betrayed because they once tried to eliminate him and failed. And after years in the shadows, he has finally returned for revenge. Soon after, Emma and Jack begin watching the same Aldgate safe house connected to the old case. While observing the area, they notice a suspicious man nearby. Mike quietly follows him while Jack, Emma, and the rest of the team move toward the safe house itself. The suspicious man realizes Mike is following him and immediately tries to escape. Mike chases him down and stops him before he can get away. Inside the safe house, Jack and Emma uncover a massive stockpile of weapons, ammunition, and explosives. At the same time, CIA Director Elizabeth attends a meeting with the head of MI6. Jack contacts James and explains everything they discovered inside the building, but something still feels wrong to him. Emma senses it too. Neither of them understands why a single man would be left guarding such a huge cache of weapons completely alone. Then Jack suddenly realizes the truth. He quickly asks James where he is because Crown may have created the entire safe house operation simply to distract everyone from the real target. The car carrying Elizabeth suddenly explodes. Jack runs toward the scene, convinced James is dead as well. The team rushes into their van, but James somehow survives the blast. Looking across the street, he spots Crown calmly waving at him from another vehicle. Enraged, James immediately chases after him. A violent car chase tears through the streets as James opens fire on Crown's vehicle. But another car suddenly appears carrying Crown's assassins, and they unleash a storm of bullets toward James. James manages to shake them off and continues chasing Crown. Eventually, Crown's car crashes. James jumps out with his gun raised, prepared to kill him. He fires several shots into the air to scatter the terrified civilians nearby, but Crown's assassins quickly attack again. James dives behind parked vehicles while Crown calmly walks away from the chaos. Just as James runs out of ammunition, his team arrives in their van. They eliminate the assassins and pull James to safety. James then delivers terrible news to Jack. Elizabeth is dead. With the CIA director gone, James has now become acting director himself. The team realizes they must protect him at all costs. Everyone relocates to a secure underground bunker. One fact is now painfully obvious. Crown planned every detail from the beginning. He knew James would immediately recognize the PMN operation. He understood exactly how MI6 would respond. He even knew where the secret meeting was happening. The assassins who attacked them were also linked to the Autoids, a Russian paramilitary group Starling destroyed years ago. Crown is now rebuilding the same extremist organization Starling once crushed, all to prove the world still needs operations like Starling to survive. Inside the bunker, the team finally understands the full scale of Crown's plan. He has not been reacting to their moves, he has been predicting and shaping them from the start. He already knew James would recognize the PMN operation instantly. He also calculated how MI6 and the CIA would respond, including where and when they would meet. James then reveals a deeper layer of the strategy. Nigel's original mission in Dubai was to deliver intelligence that could permanently dismantle Crown's entire operation. But Crown anticipated this and changed course. Instead of only targeting James, he killed CIA Director Elizabeth. That single move created a leadership vacuum that pushed James into the role of acting CIA Director. Crown believes that once James is in that position, the pressure of global instability will eventually force him to restart Starling himself. At that moment, an Uber Eats delivery arrives for James. Inside is a note. After reading it, James immediately understands where Crown is waiting for him. James leaves alone to meet him. When James arrives, Crown is already there. He mocks James and calmly reveals that he knows the exact positions of Jack, Emma, and Mike hiding nearby. A sniper is already aimed at them, making any resistance useless. Crown demands that James restart Starling and return what Nigel stole from him. James insists he has nothing. Then Jack steps forward and says he does have it, but it is not with him. It is back in Dubai. Neither James nor Emma knew this. Crown orders Jack to return to Dubai within 24 hours, warning him that everything depends on it. Jack agrees, but the situation is clearly more complicated than it appears. After this, Jack asks Emma to help him access Nigel's office at MI6. When they arrive, a bartender recognizes Emma as Nigel's daughter, exposing her hidden identity in front of Jack. Inside Nigel's office, they find an old computer still running. Jack realizes Nigel never downloaded any files. Instead, the system is running a continuous live data transmission. Jack contacts CIA technical expert Patrick to trace the signal's origin point. While examining the office, Emma notices an old photograph of herself dressed like Madonna standing beside Nigel. When Jack sees it, he realizes something important. During their earlier encounter, Crown had called Emma blonde ambition, meaning he had already been inside this office before. Only two people had access to it, Emma and her senior officer, Spears. Emma calls Spears to test him, and it becomes clear he is the mole working for Crown. Jack reports everything to James. He explains that Nigel's real objective was to broadcast Crown's entire command and control network live to the CIA so they could dismantle it completely. The transmission is routed through a master server controlling the entire system. The only way to finish the mission is to return to Dubai and complete what Nigel started. Jack, Emma, and Mike fly back to Dubai, while James heads to the United States. Before leaving, Emma deliberately tells Spears their destination. Moments later, Spears passes the information directly to Crown. When Jack's team arrives in Dubai, Patrick confirms the broadcast is coming from Dubai Marina. At the same time, Crown has already arrived and is tracking them through satellite feeds provided by Spears. They move toward the same building where the operation first went wrong. Inside, Crown's forces are already in position. A brutal firefight erupts as they push through the structure. During the chaos, a glass floor collapses beneath them, and Emma falls through, but Jack manages to catch her just in time. They continue fighting deeper into the building. Guided by Patrick, they force their way to the server room. Emma blasts through a reinforced wall to gain entry. At the same time, James arrives in Dubai by helicopter. Jack connects Patrick to the server and begins the final transfer. But Crown suddenly enters and throws a grenade, forcing Jack and Emma to take cover. In the chaos, Crown's men grab Emma, but the data transfer still continues. Mike fights outside and rescues her, but Emma is soon shot during the escape. Jack kills the attacker, but Emma is critically wounded. Crown is still alive nearby. Jack surrenders, but just then James' helicopter arrives and opens fire, turning the battle. Crown is finally cornered, wounded, and unable to escape. Crown asks Jack to finish him. Jack does not hesitate and puts him down. James recommends Jack for a senior CIA position as his deputy, and together they step into their new roles. And with that, friends, it comes to an end. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for videos like this.